Hello, and welcome to this presentation on what we do here at the FitPro Alliance Institute. We teach to graduate coaches who will restore function, build strength and athleticism, and optimize postural alignment for their clients. And these things are very important on their own. Restoring function does not mean just movement. It means metabolic function as well, health overall, physiology. Building strength and athleticism is because we require strength in order to express athleticism. It's a prerequisite. And finally, optimize postural alignment because due to the activities of daily living in our lifestyle nowadays, many more people are having challenges stacking their bone structure properly, optimally, in a variety of contexts. And finally, it's important that they are able to do that while they collaborate with medical professionals and sports coaches and professionals as well. This is the scope and practice of a fitness professional in today's day and age, and not 20 years ago, because people's challenges today are very different to people's challenges in the past. We are an accredited health and fitness education institute from Europe Active, Active IQ, and the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Labor in Romania. Additionally, we've been established in Jordan and in Palestine for quite some time, and newly we're entering these two new exciting markets. What's important is to bring what we do to the everyday person. So we've built a coaching team. The coaching team, with a variety of coaches and centers in Jordan and Palestine currently and others coming soon, apply our training system, the SPEC Training System, with all of our clients, ranging from 14 years old all the way to 93 years old, pre and post-operative cases as well that have been through physiotherapy and now they need to build resilience, but also those who need to improve their cardiovascular fitness after perhaps they've had some respiratory distress or a cardiovascular related challenge. And to do that, we collaborate with a lot of doctors, physiotherapy centers, and clinical nutritionists. We've been immensely blessed to work closely with doctors like Dr. Ghassan Khouri, who's a renowned orthopedic surgeon. I've had the pleasure to attend 2 of his surgeries as well and help recover his patients and get them back to movement. So today, he still continues to refer clients to us and our team because we're able to help people. SPEC is about results. FitPro Alliance, what we do is about results, nothing more. That's what matters the most. And the same we've done with Dr. Amr, who's also a very skilled orthopedic surgeon, highly reputable, and focused on the lower extremity. So that is hip, knees, ankles, foot. And the same thing has happened here. Whenever he had clients with problems due to muscular imbalances and postural distortions, he referred them to us and we were able to help them as well because we apply the SPEC training system, we apply science-based training, and we're able to gradually and bring those benefits to their patients. This is one of those case studies just to get a sense of what you could accomplish with the SPEC training system and being a FitPro Alliance graduate. So this lady, as you can see, her posture, her alignment is really skewed to one side. If you look closely, you'll see that the pelvis is twisted, it's rotated to the left. Whereas here, when she was walking, you can see that the pelvis is pointing forward. Finally, if you compare the pelvic position here with the pelvic position here, you see a massive difference. What's the difference between this and this? Here, she needed to walk with a cane. Okay? She wouldn't be able to walk without a cane. Here, she's able to walk without a cane. And her goal, being that she's 76 years old, has osteoporosis, and she has a number of other conditions, she just wants to prevent falling. This is a second case with a young gentleman, 18 years old, and we see that he has this hyperkyphosis, this massive rounding of the back. This picture was taken in February 2024 at our first assessment. And here we see about a year and a bit later, after training 3 to 4 times a week, he managed to attain a much better lumbar curve whilst building a bit of muscle. And now he's getting to actually add more nutritional intake and hopefully develop even further. And finally, another gentleman with a lot of challenges here, scoliosis. He has a hernia as well, right knee pain, low back pain, and low skeletal muscle mass. These were some of the challenges, and nevertheless, we're able to take him across. And that's because we're applying the SPEC training system that we've developed here at FitPro Alliance. I want to take you through a few key components of what the SPEC training system is about. So the S stands for stress regulation, because stress is this overused term that we barely understand. Yet stress affects every aspect of our life: physical, emotional, cognitive, health. It's important that we understand it as professionals so that we can help people manage stress better through movement, nutritional, and other lifestyle interventions. The P stands for physical performance. So this is where we're looking at things like strength, endurance, balance, agility, speed, power. This is where we look at muscle mass and function. Then we're looking at, okay, how about overall health, internal health? How do we produce energy? How efficient we are at producing energy? And how well does our metabolism perform? To make sure we understand that, we have to understand physiology, the way the body works. And finally, we cannot do everything on our own. As you've seen earlier, it is important, crucial even, to collaborate with physicians, nutritionists, physiotherapists. But how do we do that? Well, we have to understand each other's language. And so collaboration is key. Finally, coaching is not just instructing. The relationship we have with our clients must bring about lasting benefits. And that is done through coaching at multiple levels: within the session, within the week, follow-ups, accountability, information and education. All of that is within the umbrella of coaching. And so that's what SPEC training system is about. This is what students had to say. It is much easier to understand anatomy. In other words, understand function and the purpose of every tissue, bone, joint, the way it is built and why it is built that way, than just trying to memorize stuff. Okay? You see, what determines your coaching, we call it body reading. To learn that language, we must understand anatomy. We must understand structure. Without that, we cannot help them. And for those who are more experienced, like Rami, who was a coach for a very long time, and he studied sports in uni, just like Siba did, by the way, when he completed the Performance Fitness Coach program, it says he had a system that he can use to produce results. And he was able to understand why certain exercises are the progression of others. So what comes next? And when you think about your job, what you want is to be able to operate with calm, without distractions, and without thinking about what's coming next, because you are able to prepare ahead of time and you know very clearly what is the next step. So can we truly coach movement without having a solid understanding of the body structure? No. However, when it comes to body structure, we've typically learned anatomy by butchering the body down into tiny fractions that we call individual muscles, and they do this one thing. But the body doesn't operate that way. We have 600 to 800 muscles, depending on how you count them, and they operate in what we call movement systems. So here, for instance, you have what we call the lateral line. And the lateral line allows us to have stability when we walk, because you walk on a single leg at a time. And here you see the components of the lateral line. From the bottom, you have this fibularis group, this group of tissue that we barely speak about in our industry, by the way. Then you have the iliotibial tract, which is the ITB. We're very familiar with it in our industry, though a little bit misunderstood. And finally, we have here the glute max, we all love, right? But the TFL, and this is a tissue that we barely speak about. Everybody says hip flexors, hip flexors, hip flexors, but which one of them? There are more than 5 hip flexors. TFL is one major hip flexor. Finally, the chain continues with abdominal obliques, internal and external, then intercostals, which are right here, the muscles between the ribs, right? Because if you notice, if you take a breath, you brought the ribs up, so your intercostals have contracted, but then your obliques have stretched. And then as you contract your belly and exhale, your obliques contracted and your intercostals stretched. So they have this relationship, this partnership, in order to provide us with movement in both breathing and other functions. So as you can see, when it comes to understanding the body structure, it's not enough to just know where's the bicep and where's the tricep. We have to understand movement systems. And next, what's really important is when you start the journey with your client, is we have to understand and evaluate their recovery ability, their posture, their ability to breathe well, which a lot of people are not dealing with so well, unfortunately. And finally, how to assess movement, mobility, strength, and other parameters. This is essential because if you don't have a clear starting point to measure and benchmark against, how do we know where we're going to go to further? And finally, this program, it's not about the certification. Yes, the certification is massively important, but in reality, you can have a certification, but what's even more important is how to put it into practice and actually create a business. Because at the end of the day, you're not taking the certification to just look at it and wait for people to come to you. If you want to build a lifestyle out of this kind of work, help people, bring about results, and build a business that supports you and your family, this is what the program is about. We have to master sales. How do you price your services? And how does the price evolve over time? And how does your offering evolve over time? Marketing, what is that about? Is it all just about social media? Maybe yes, maybe not. And one of the most important things that people rarely talk about, and it's incredibly important, is the customer journey. How does that first meeting look like? What about your introduction to your services and explaining what you do? All of these things are important for you to make sense of how your process unfolds and what your clients can expect from you. So what is the structure of the course? Let's dive a little bit more into the details. The first module is guided online, and it's all about gaining knowledge, okay? The second one is when we meet live and we go through the practical application of the knowledge to start developing the skills which you reinforce in module 3 before the examination, okay? So module 1 is knowledge, module 2 is practical application, and module 3, skill building. Most courses start the other way around. They start with live training, and then you go through the knowledge. We found that to be quite difficult, and it does not produce the best results, because when you come into the practical first, you have people with various degrees of knowledge, and some understand what's going on, and some really struggle. So to make sure that everybody has a great experience, we go through the knowledge part first, and we can do that online. So we're going to cover physiology, how the body works, anatomy, where everything is and how they're pieced together, and finally kinesiology, how do we produce movement. And to dive a little bit deeper, that means we'll understand movement systems, applied neurology, and how systems interact with one another. And I'm not talking about movement systems only, but also the systems of the body, like the digestive system, the cardiovascular system, and beyond. Module 1 lasts 14 weeks. Is incredibly important because this is our base. We will have live online sessions, you'll have a study guide and workbook, and a mentor to answer any questions you might have. And with that, module 1 completed, you'll then have the ability to really benefit from module 2, where you will assess, coach, and program design. Assess movement, right? The person's history, etc. And then coach them through the training itself. And which training are you going to coach? The one that you've designed into their program. So this is where we understand things like isometric strength assessments. Sounds like a lot of words, right? But isometric basically means strength without movement. If I press my hands together here, they're both expressing strength, they're pushing one against the other, but there's no movement. So we call that isometric. Strength and range of motion is basically how much range do we have at a given joint. We'll learn about the 5-step coaching model that enables you to coach with accuracy and speed, the SOAP document, which is what we use when we assess clients, and what is our programming design framework. This will take 6 weeks. We're going to meet for 12 days, workbook, and a weekly practice buddy. We found that this is important because it's not enough that you have the mentor, which continues through this period, but to have someone you can practice with your coaching and what you've learned every week is crucial. So we take all of these skills that we have learned to deliver the results. So Module 2 is focused on results into Module 3. And this is where we want to improve our skills of assessment, coaching, and program design, but also start to build our business. Okay? So you'll receive assignments, and from the assignments, once you submit them, you'll get feedback from your mentor. So now you have a two-way street to know, hey, I understood everything in Module 2, but am I really able to apply? That's what the assignments and the feedback are about. And so you're not caught off guard. We're also going to go through mock exams. And the mock exam is basically a practice exam for you to get a sense of what to expect when you go through examination. Module 3 takes 8 weeks. And you'll have 3 live online sessions when we review what we've accomplished and what to do next, tackle any questions, and guide you through your journey. You'll have the assignments and the workbook. And finally, remember the mentor is still there so that you are ready for your examination. This is the structure of the SPEC Performance Fitness Coach. You start with Module 1, where you go through knowledge, then build on that knowledge through practical application, and then finally cement what you've understood by developing the skill, which requires repetition and feedback. That's how you're going to finish the course with the ability to actually deliver the service, as opposite to finish with knowledge and bare minimum understanding of what you need to do, and then you're kind of left to figure it out on your own. What's important also is we didn't just build this to be an effective program. We want it to be accredited so that you have a lot of flexibility, finding work, and operating in many places around the world. So, of course, Europe Active implies that this program is available in Europe, with the exception of Sweden. They have some slightly different regulations. Finally, in the Middle East and North Africa, all of these countries endorse Europe Active and Active IQ, and many in Africa as well, and other places around the world, in Asia, etc. And finally, in the States, there are really no restrictions, or in Canada or Mexico or any other places in North America or South America for that matter. You can use Europe Active and enjoy the privileges of a fitness professional in those markets. So in closing, is this what you're looking for? Does the SPEC training system answer your questions? I recognize that there might be a lot of details that were in this video and you might have quite a lot of questions. That is why we've set up the phone call for you to be able to express those questions. So in the meantime, what you can do is just take notes of those questions. You might want to go through this video again and make sure you tackle them in your call with our FitPro Alliance team member. Having said that, my name is Marion Podoleanu. I'm the founder of FitPro Alliance. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I'm also a clinical orthopedic manual therapist. I hold more than 20 certifications in our industry, and I continue to learn every single day. I'm very passionate about movement and health and helping people lead healthy, productive, inspiring lives, and helping fitness professionals become able to support themselves and their families through this wonderful work that we do for our society. I wish you the best of luck, and I look forward to seeing you in our program. Have a great day ahead.